Done. Start.
Hello, my name is Daniel, and this is my Ways of Knowing interview, and today I'll be talking about how the experiences I've had within Africa and within Southeast Asia have played a role in my development as a person.
How did it develop you as a person?
The past experiences and encounters I have had in different environments around the world throughout my life are much different from what most people would experience, and therefore have forged me a unique mental map.
What is the mental map?
Your mental map is the way you perceive the world and how you make connections from one topic to another in life.
So you claim that your mental map is determined by your experiences and environment?
Yes.
So where does this make your mental map unique?
The fact that I've lived in Africa and within Southeast Asia, and have therefore been less exposed to racial stereotypes and bias about those different races. I therefore have been exposed to black, white, and Oriental peoples with varying characteristics, which delude me from having any bias based on skin color. Due to the role of my unconscious mind, and according to the IAT tests, that is only a mere 17% of people.
What's the role of the unconscious?
The role of the unconscious is the role the subconscious mind will play in creating attitudes towards people, and as a result, it will affect our actions and judgments of certain people or topics.
How is the role of one's unconscious and one's mental map related in this sense?
The role of the unconscious is determined by stereotypes and ideals that your environment contains and which you are exposed to, and in the end will result in building up your mental map with that stereotypical bias and expectations that you have been raised to believe.
So is the point you are trying to bring across is that your mental map is unique and different because your unconscious mind does not affect you to have bias towards those because of their skin color, and this is because of the diverse environments, cultures, and experiences you have been exposed to?
Yes.
How would the role of one's unconscious generally affect their bias towards one based on their skin tone or color?
Well, again, generally society and individual would grow up in definitely would play a big role. For example, in Western society, the media is one of the biggest social influences of the unconscious mind of the average person within that society. And as the media normally portrays dark skin in a negative light, the majority of people in Western society would unconsciously compare dark skin with negative topics and negativity.
So the reason you claim to be different is because you have been less exposed to Western society and were not growing up in a society that associated dark skin with bad, and therefore your unconscious mind does not play a role in generating bias against people for that reason?
Exactly.
So to what extent would you say that our environment and experiences alone plays a role in affecting our unconscious bias?
Well, personally, I would argue that those two factors determine it all. After all, it is your experiences which shape your mental map, and what you experience on a day-to-day basis is very dependent on your environment and cultural background.
So let me just sum this up once again. The reason you do not judge or hold preferences for people with certain skin color is because the environments you lived in did not expose you to a culture which held any particular skin tone in a certain light. Am I correct?
Well, yes, but even though a lot of advertising in the country I'm living in may emphasize a preference for a certain skin color, I am generally not exposed to that view, as I'm being exposed to an ideal of an international school where it is strongly emphasized that all races are equal, usually. So you are correct because of my exposure to many white and black people with varying characteristics. I have formed a mental map in which my unconscious mind commits no bias based on skin color.
What do you think makes an individual's mental map and the role of their unconscious mind so important?
Well, it is really important that we are aware of our environment, that aware of how our environment may have altered our mental map and the role of our unconscious as well, and how it may lead us to create false assumptions of certain subjects and how that may hold us and others back.
Could you give me an example?
Well, for example, let's say I'm interviewing someone for a job. Let's say they're black. Let's also say we're in the United States, where blacks are often shown in a negative light in the media. The job applicant is an absolutely wonderful candidate for the job. However, I, as an interviewer, have been raised in a society where blacks are often associated with negativity, and therefore I overlook his credibility, but not intentionally. Consciously, I know he'd be beneficial for the company, but my unconscious mind will be thinking gangster, rapist, thug, etc. Thus, it is due to my bias done through the role of my unconscious that I made a poor decision in refusing him into the company, which is a waste for the company and a misfortune for the job applicant.
So the argument you're making is that we need to be aware of how our environment may affect the role of our unconscious based on our cultural ideals in order to determine how our unconscious mind is determining bias in our judgment and therefore may hinder us from making the wisest choices.
You got it. Okay.